Hey guys, it's Mr. C with your Saxon Math today, and today we're doing lesson 100. And this is kind of a beastie one. This is one of those lessons. So we're doing algebraic addition of integers. This is one of those lessons that once it clicks, once it makes sense to you, it'll be simple, easy the rest of your life. But until it clicks, it takes practice. And so I'm going to go really slowly through parts of this today so you can understand why it works the way it works, and so you can visualize things. It's going to help it so it clicks for you quicker. Okay? So we're going to look at a number line to add integers. We're going to identify the opposite of an integer, and then we're going to use algebraic addition to subtract integers. That one's the hard part. All right? So first let's look at a number line. Here we go from -5 all the way up to +5. Now the dots on the number line all represent one number. So we go -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? Now, we'll often see a scale just like we saw, but on different things. So like on a thermostat, it goes down to 0. Now some thermostats go below 0. You can have a negative number on a thermostat. So here we consider a rise in temperature of being +5. That makes sense, right? So a rise is plus, while a decline or a fall in temperature is negative. So if we go down 5 degrees, it's -5. If we go up 5 degrees, it's +5. So imagine the temperature is 0. Where's 0 on here? I guess this is 0 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so we're starting all the way up here. And if the temperature falls 5 degrees, it's going down. It's like -5, right? So now we're at -5 degrees. If it falls another 5 degrees, now it's going to go to -10. So -5 plus -5 equals -10. That sounds weird, right? -5 plus -5 equals -10. But you're going to see, just as we show here, that totally makes sense. If it falls 5 and then falls another 5, it's -10. Okay? So imagine this different situation. If we start with a temperature of 0, and at first it falls 5 degrees, so we go down 5, like here, and then it brings it to -5. Then the temperature rises 5 degrees, so it goes up 5. Now we're back to 0. So -5 plus +5 equals 0. They're opposites. -5 and +5 are opposites. They cancel out and they equal 0. All right, so starting from 0 again, if the temperature rises 5 degrees, it gets up to +5. Then if it falls 10, look, you can see on the scale it falls 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So when it was +5 and falls 10, now it's at -5. So we see that it falls full 10 and it becomes -5. So +5 plus -10, or a fall of 10, equals -5. Now you're going to notice something here. Plus and negative, when you put them together, that's the same as a negative. So a positive and a negative, when you put them together, equals a negative. A negative and a negative, when you put them together, equals a positive. But we'll get to that in a minute. So here we have 5 plus a negative together equals a minus. 5 minus 10 equals -5. Okay, so here we look at +8 plus a minus, so that equals -5. So 8 minus 5 equals 3. All right, and we can see this on a number line. If we start at 0 and we go +8, and then we add -5, we go back 5, so we come up 8, and then we go back 5, it puts us right at 3 on the number line. Totally makes sense. And hopefully that's going to start clicking for you as you see it on these number lines. Okay? -5 plus -3. So again, a positive and a negative together equals a negative. So -5, and then you add another -3 to it. That's 5, and it keeps going down 3 more. That's going to be -8. Let's look at that on a number line. So if we start at 0, and we go down 5, -5, and then we go down 3 more. Now we're at -8. Totally works. Okay. So now, here we're going to see opposites. A -6 and a +6, those are opposites, so they're going to cancel out. But we can do it mathematically too. -6 plus 6 equals 0. And if we did this backwards, 6 plus -6, plus and a negative together would equal a negative. So 6 minus 6 also equals 0. Okay? So if we see this on a number line and we start by going -6, and then we go +6, we're just going back to where we started. We're at 0. All right. Now, sometimes they put parentheses on numbers. It just helps you to see it better. So this is the same, 6 plus -6. It's the same problem we just did. But by putting it in parentheses, you can see what numbers we're dealing with. We're dealing with a positive number and a negative number, or opposites. So sometimes that makes it easier to just say, okay, well, the positive and the negative cancel out, and it makes our 0. So we have our parentheses. We can see what kind of problem it is. It equals 0. -6 and +6 are opposites, and opposite numbers can be written with the same digits but with opposite signs, so a positive and a negative sign. The opposite of 3 is -3, the opposite of -5 is 5, and it always works. So opposites are always going to just have the different sign. Okay, if opposites are added together, they always equal 0, they cancel out. So here, find the opposite number, -7. The opposite sign to that is plus, so it'd be +7. 10, right now, even though we don't put a +10, it means it's positive because we don't have a sign. So the opposite of a +10 would be -10. Okay? So now, I'm going to read this one because they use some of the words I don't use very often, like subtrahend and minuend. All right, so let's start at the top. Using opposites allows us to change subtraction problem into an addition problem. So if we look at 10 and then we add a -6, instead of subtracting 6 from 10, we can actually just add the opposite of 6, which is -6. And so we just have 10 and add a -6, and that gives us 4. Either way it works. That's called algebraic addition. Now we change the subtraction to addition by adding the opposite of the subtrahend. So in subtraction, we take the minuend minus the subtrahend, and we get the difference. If that doesn't make sense to you, that's all right. We'll keep going. So we're going to simplify here. So we can minus -6, or we can add the opposite of -6, which is +6. So -10 plus 6 would be -4. Or the way I remember it, and honestly, I just learned it this way 30 years ago, and this is what makes sense to me. A negative plus a negative equals a positive. So if you can just remember that and practice it, negative plus negative equals a positive, you'll get the right answer. So -10 plus 6 is going to be -4. Okay? And now, same thing, but we're looking in parentheses, so we can, if we don't want to subtract, we can add, but we have to add the opposite number of 5. So we can add a -5, and that would be 5. -5 and -3 together would be -8. So -3 minus another 5 is -8. And that does it. Woohoo! Again, not a real hard assignment today, not a real hard concept, if it clicks for you. If it hasn't clicked, keep practicing the problems, and that's going to help, okay? Good luck.